Hey guys, Tattooed Trout Dude here. I'm hanging out. It's a Saturday night. Time flies. I'm trying to beat this cold I got. So I figured I'd do a quick tabletop review of a fly reel that I've been fishing a lot. So I feel like this company, they don't get a lot of exposure on the internet. Basically, they just let their products speak for themselves, and their customer service and everything speak for themselves. So when I was trying to research before I purchased this reel, to find out more information, and there's not a lot out there on the internet. So that's why I wanted to post this video, show people the reel, let people know about the company and what they stand for, and get that out there so people can make an informed decision on whether they'd like to purchase this reel or not. So the company I'm talking about is Galvan fly reels. They're out of a family-owned and run business out of California. Everything is made in-house in the United States, which is absolutely fantastic. Everything from research and development, testing the products, design of the products, the CNC machining, the anodizing, everything is done 100% in-house. What I dig about this company is they're not, Instagram kings or queens, they're not social media. Like, there's a lot of companies out there, I'm not going to name names, but there's a lot of companies out there that have a huge social media following and their products are absolute crap. These products are fantastic. They stand behind their name, the customer service is fantastic. They don't have to go out there and spend the money on the marketing because they let their products speak for themselves. So I'm going to talk about the Galvan fly reels. First off, I want to say I have no affiliation with this company whatsoever. I'm not on a guide program or anything. I'm not on any guide programs. I'm not on any pro staff or any, I like to fish. I love to fish. So, and I like gear. I'm a big gear junkie. So I go through a lot of different reels. I'm a huge reel collector. I started out with click and pawls. That's my main go-to thing, is click and pawl reels. But for some reason, I keep coming back to a disc drag reel with this Galvan reel. And I'm going to talk about it a little bit, tell you why I like it, and maybe you'll feel the same way I do, or at least you'll have a more informed decision on whether you like the reel or not. So the reel comes in a nice neoprene case, protects the reel. It's got their logo on the front. You open it up, and this is it. This is the Rush number 4, the Rush Light number 4. So it's the middle tier reel. The flagship reel for them is the Torque, which is the same exact drag system as the Rush, but this is $100 cheaper than the Torque. It's less porting, I guess. The machining, it's less porting, so the machining must cost more. That's why they charge more for the reel, but the drag system itself is exactly the same as the Torque. So this is more of a workhorse reel, a guide's reel. It's going to take a beating. It's going to get banged around. If you're in a drift boat getting banged around, this thing's going to just take a beating. I can, personally attest to the strength and quality of this reel. I've taken it to Maine for huge brook trout in the western mountains, the west branch of the Delaware, the tri-state area is where I'm from, so that's where I fish a lot of it. And it's taken a beating, a lot of slips, a lot of falls, a lot of swims. It's gone right there with me. It's still, running strong. It's about a year old. Since I bought it new, it's about a year old, and there's only a few little dings on it. So I'm going to get to talking about, a little bit more about the reel here. So the spool is a quick push button design. You just push that button where it says Galvan. It's indented, and it just comes out. Sorry, my hands are a little sweaty here. So it just pops right off. If you can see on the inside of the spool, there's little teeth, and those teeth, I'm going to show you how this reel works. Those teeth engage this pawl mechanism right here. So that pawl mechanism right there, every time you're retrieving line, that's clicking on those teeth and making that retrieve sound. When the fish takes the fly and starts pulling, this pawl locks in to one of those teeth, and that's when the drag actually engages. There's extremely fine detents on the drag. The settings for this, the amount of range of drag is absolutely ridiculous. You can crank this all the way down, you can barely even pull a line off of it. and then you can back it all the way off, and it can free spool. There's no drag at all. So increments are extremely fine, very fine tuned. It's awesome to play trout on. It's a lot of fun. I just leave it, super light setting, and then I'll just end up just palming the reel like a click and pawl. It's, I feel like, the best way. And if a fish is really running hard and it's taking you downstream, and it's going to break off soon, you can crank some of that drag down a little bit, put a little bit more pressure on that fish, and you'll have a better chance of landing them, quicker and safer, and it's healthier for the fish, and they'll be, in better shape when you release them. So a little bit more about the drag. The spindle of the frame itself. This spindle and drag mechanism, the knob's a little different on the Rush, but it's exactly the same as the Torque. This is just more of a workhorse reel. The Torque's more of a showy. It's a little bit, more porting, more modern looking. This is more of a classic looking spool that comes with the Rush. Just regular circular ports on the spool. And it's more of a classic looking reel, which I like because I'm more of a, click and pawl, classic looking guy. I like those old looking reels, just very classy. So spool width I think is perfect. It eliminates, it's a little wide, but it's not too bad. It eliminates line stacking when you're reeling in real quick. Another thing is the sounds. A lot of things on the internet about the Galvan reels, they don't actually let you hear the sound of the reel. I think, reels can look amazing. They can be, look great, but a huge, consideration when guys are going out there and looking to purchase a new reel is the sound. They want to hear that reel scream when a hot fish is pulling line. They just do. I've always wanted it. It just sounds awesome. It's more fun. It's funner to play the fish. It's a more intimate experience when you hear that reel, screaming. So this is the incoming click. The incoming click, oddly, is louder than the outgoing, but that's because of that whole design with the whole drag design there. So this is the incoming. You hear it. That's actually just that spool clicking on that pawl. And then when the fish is taking line, let me see if I can find the tippet here somewhere. Excuse me while I find this. Apologize. I'm doing this all in one take. So, alright. This is the outgoing sound. Still sounds great. Not as loud as the incoming, but it's very similar. And when the fish is pulling line, you still hear it. It's a lot of fun. So it's a huge reason I like it. The handle on the Rush is fantastic. It's this contoured handle. It's a very classic design. It fits in the hand great. Grabs real great. With the Torque has a bigger, more contoured handle. It's got the, it actually flares out. It's got contours on it. This is more of a classic contoured handle. So it's still awesome. It's a great handle. Your hands don't slip off of it. Counterbalance is perfect. The amount of drag on it is fantastic. The design is simple, sleek, elegant. I think it's awesome. It's a little bit more on the heavier side. I actually weighed this with my scale. I think with the line and backing, this is the 4, the Torque 4. It's 3 1/4, I think, diameter for the spool. I don't like anything bigger than 3 1/4 for like 4 or 5 weight reels. I just don't think it looks right when you have this big gaudy reel on it. Just not my style. I like the smaller 3-inch, 3 1/4-inch reels max for that line weight. So it's a perfect size. It balances fantastic for a 9'5" weight. It's a little on the heavier side for some of my glass rods that are a little bit shorter, like 7.5 feet. The 8 foot still balances fantastic on an 8 foot glass rod. So yeah, that's basically it. That's the Rush light from Galvan. Their customer service is fantastic. I originally bought a brookie reel from them a year ago, and I had an issue with one of the screws on it. And Carmen Galvan, I believe that's the wife of the owner, or a co-owner, she emailed me the same day and said, hey, no problem, we'll get the part out to you, and free of charge. Their warranty, they stand behind their products, and they believe in their products, and it's awesome to, see a company that has that passion for their, customers and for their products, and they stand behind it no matter what. This thing is fully machined, 6061 bar stock aluminum. Everything's made in America, even down to machining of the screws themselves. And it's just a fantastic reel. I'm an East Coast guy, so these are huge out on the West Coast, I guess because they're made in California. A lot of, anglers out west rock the Galvan reel. But it's a shame that not many people know, or not as many people know about the Galvan reels out on the East Coast, because they're absolutely fantastic. For some reason, I just keep coming back to this Galvan reel. And I'm not a huge fan of disc drag reels. I always end up going back to click and pawls. I just think they're more fun. But for some reason, I just keep going back to this reel. So I think it's just the simplicity of it. It balances fantastically. That's a huge thing too with reels. For me at least, is the sound of the reel, the sound of the click, and balancing. Balancing is a huge, it's a huge thing to do with your casting, your stroke, counterbalancing, your rod tip, tracking when you're, throwing loops, casting. We want it to track correctly. If you don't have a reel that correctly balances the rod, you're not going to have a fun time. You're going to have a sore wrist, you're going to have a sore arm. So these reels absolutely balance perfectly. There's a lot of reels that are like, they so much porting on them and they look awesome and they're like super futuristic looking, but they sound like crap. There's no really good click and scream when you're pulling line out, and they're too light. That's a huge thing. All these companies are going super light, and yeah, the reels look fantastic, but they're too light to balance a rod, for my liking at least, and I'm sure a lot of guys. I've had a few discussions with some Trout Unlimited members in my chapter, and it's about the sound and the balance, and we all agreed on that, and it's a huge thing. So if you're in the market to purchase a reel here, definitely check out the Galvan fly reels. I can't say enough good things about this company. And again, I'm not even, they don't even hook me up. I don't even think they know who I am. So definitely check them out. This is the middle tier reel. This is the Rush Light. Then they have their flagship reel, the Torque, which is the same exact drag system, but it's more modern styling, more porting, a little bit more lightweight, and a little bit different designs. And then they also have a saltwater reel, which is fully sealed. And then they have a very unique click and pawl reel, which is it uses a ball system, which is it's pretty neat. The reel is absolutely beautiful, but it's just too quiet for me. It doesn't really click. It doesn't scream when you're pulling line or have a fish on or reeling in. So enough of me rambling here. The Galvan, made in the USA, Galvan fly reels out of Sonora, California, I believe. So definitely give them a check, and please like, subscribe, comment. I'm down for talking to people. I want people to be informed about products. I put these through the paces, and just go check it out. Get your hands on one, fish it. Go to your local fly shop, find a local dealer. Get your hands on one and check it out. See if you like it for yourself. So you can check these out on their website, galvanflyreels.com. And yeah, so that's it. The Galvan fly reels. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Tight lines.